Hey, Dirt Peep. I would have said peeps, but there's probably only a couple of you. Um, September 23rd. September 22nd was a beautiful day, about plus 24. Not a cloud in the sky, beautiful fall day. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, we are now measuring in the riding season in smaller and smaller increments. Here's a prime example. Yesterday was 24, today is 14. By the end of the week, we're talking snow flurries, rain, plus 5. All temperatures in Celsius. So, thought I'd do something a little, commute on the way home-ish, if you will. In Canada, we say there's only two seasons, winter and construction season. So certainly, as winter is fast approaching, construction season is also, they're trying to finish a whole bunch of things, get some projects out of the way. So I'm on 104th Ave in Edmonton, near MacEwan University, and it's just been one of those things where, this road, because of some things that the city is planning on doing, it has just been open, closed, down to 3 lanes, 2 lanes. They're trying to move some utilities from one side to the other, and for future transit line construction. So I'm just here commuting home. Going to see Mrs. Dirtlad. Going to see Dirt Daughter, the younger. Dirt Daughter, the older. New place, new roommate. So she's doing awesome. So, stream of consciousness, thoughts of the day. What are we going to talk about? Let's make this one a more technical and, more motorcycle-y kind of moto vlog. I noticed one of the things about this Roadstar that has always puzzled me. I always found, since even the day I bought it, that starting it always just seemed to, starter motor maybe spun a little slower than my Boulevard. And I always sort of attributed that to being, it's bigger motor, and turning over those extra cc's is a little bit of work. Which I think is, certainly a plausible explanation, and maybe that is the ultimate explanation. But then I started looking at things like my driving lights. So I'll just stop here. You can sort of see beside the headlight I have 2 bigger driving lights. They're not controlled from the handlebars. They're controlled by an on-off switch on one of the lights. And it's something that I never really thought about. It's like, I got driving lights. Probably took me 2 weeks before I thought, I wonder how those turn on. And then I found the switch, and then I was happy. And then I noticed, one time when I was using them, Like, I don't know if you can see it now, but I can see the reflection of my headlight in the truck in front of me off of his glossy paint. But I noticed when I turned on my driving lights, they were never on. But if I was revving the lights, or revving the engine up, then the lights would come on. And I started to think, oh, that's weird. Is there like a grounding issue? And I thought, well, no, if it was ground, it shouldn't be impacted by how fast the motor's spinning. And I think I've come to the conclusion that the driving lights are running right off the battery. And if the battery is weak, then, the driving lights themselves aren't going to get enough power off the battery unless the battery is receiving more power from the stator, I believe it is, then the motor needs to run. So that's one of the things you sort of have noticed. A lot of bikes, when they're for sale and they're used bikes, they'll often say, oh, new battery installed and this year. I guess one of the things I've never really thought about is how long does a motorcycle battery last? Certainly, when I bought my Boulevard from the dealership, one of the things that, they suggested, I don't know if it was an upsell or not, but to get a battery tender, which I think is, probably not a bad investment. This bike does not have a battery tender on it, and I have the cables for it at home. It's just not something that I've ever took the few minutes to install. But, yeah, I guess when you think about it, it's not like motorcycles have a lot of, excess charging capacity. Gosh, sometimes I wish I had red lights and flashing lights so that I could go through traffic. But anyway, no, that's not, emergency vehicles come first. Didn't mean to joke about that. But anyway, going back to the charging of batteries, when you think about it, motorcycles spend a lot of time at idle, probably drawing more from the battery than is going back in. So it must be a constant cycle of charge, discharge, charge, discharge. And yeah, so it's not unreasonable that these things could really get, worn down or, worn out. So, yeah, probably something next year that we'll be looking at. New battery. In the grand scheme of things, they're not that expensive. So you take it where you can. When you think about it, a tank of gas on this thing costs $20. Do that once a week. New battery every couple of years, it's $80. It's just a consumable item. Man, am I going to be happy when there is no more construction on this road. I mean, as I've said in other videos, safety first and stay within the law and all that, but man, I did not buy a motorcycle to commute back and forth to home in second gear. Yeah. Anyway, there. The one minor, small, technical thing that, you know, makes somebody go, oh, gee, maybe he does think about the iron that he's riding. Doesn't just treat it like a commuting toy. But anyway, with all this traffic, probably should be paying attention to what the heck's going on. Certainly, as I'm about to wrap this up, thanks to all of you who've been, watching the videos. Sure, one of them has got to be a Dirt Daughter. Hi, Dirt Daughter. But as I've said at the end of all the videos, and we're getting to the point where this might be the last one for the season. You know, be kind to one another, because it's so easy to fall into the trap of not being kind. Be a better person than you are. Because it doesn't matter how good of a person you are right now. There's always something that maybe you could do just a little bit better. Own your shit. I've come to realize in my advanced years on this planet that I made a lot of mistakes. Not all of them are big, bad, earth-shattering mistakes. But they're mine, I did them. So take that opportunity to acknowledge what you've done. Acknowledge the good things you've done and take pride in that. Acknowledge the places where you could have done better and take that as a learning experience. Own what you've done. And occasionally you will say things like, I am sorry.